Hey friends, what's up? I hope you're all well. I am super happy right now because I just got back from lunch with friends and I had French toast, which as you guys may know, or if you don't know, you should know, you need to know that French toast is one of my most favorite things ever. In fact, I'm gonna insert a picture. There we go, that's what it was. It was like rhubarb and orange marmalade and orange ice cream and milk crumb, and I'm sorry you didn't come here for this, but this is what you're getting. This is what happens. Anyway, it was amazing, and so I'm very happy. And I also got, you probably don't give a shit about this either, but I got a new chair. And it's so much better in comparison to that old shitty thing that I had. And I actually have like back support now. Anyway, okay, all right, let's get into it. Sorry. So today's just a really quick update about how my bulk is going, because I'm now in a bulk. The last time I updated on how my weight was tracking in terms of my calories coming off the end of my diet, which was in January, I was still reverse dieting. So go back and have a look at that vlog if you want to know more about reverse dieting, coming off a calorie deficit, improving your metabolism, making sustainable progress into the future, because staying in a dieting state all the time is not a good place to be in. So I'm going to put that in the description box below. Head to that video if you want more information on that. But yes, at some point during the increases in calories, you are no longer reverse dieting and you enter a calorie surplus, which is also known as bulking. And I am now in a calorie surplus and I am now bulking. Now, how do I know that I'm in a calorie surplus? It's because during reverse dieting, as you guys will see if you watch the other video, my weight was kind of very up and down. It would be up one week and down the next week and up and down, and my calories were steadily going up, but my weight wasn't so much steadily increasing. I think kind of the defined point of when you're in a calorie surplus is where your weight is consistently increasing. And mine is now very consistently increasing, probably too consistently, more consistently than I would like. So I'm going to show my graph again. Now I'm not going to go through this in super detail like I have in previous videos. In my reverse diet video I go into more detail. In my end of diet video, which I did at the end of January, I go into a lot of detail, but we're just going to quickly cover over it this time. So in particular, how I know that I'm in a surplus is just looking at these last 4 weeks. So each dot point on this graph is a week apart, and then the red dots are my calories on the left axis and the blue dots is my weight in kilograms, which is on the right axis. And as you can see, the last 4 weeks, up, 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 up we go. And kind of towards over the last week, my coach said, yep, okay, you're definitely in the surplus. Maybe let's just drop back your calories just a little bit so we don't continue gaining quite at this rate. As you guys can see, I am now sitting at 67 kilos and I finished my diet at 63.7 kilos. So I'm up 3.3 kilos since the end of my calorie deficit, my end of my weight loss period. 3.3 kilos is 7.5 pounds, but I'm also up 670 calories, which is the main thing. The fact that I've gone up that many calories and I've gained that amount of weight over the course of 5 months, I am pretty okay with. So I want to be clear, I'm not scared of gaining weight. I know that gaining weight is in fact quite a scary process for many girls, and I'm going to touch on that in a second. Gaining weight doesn't worry me. Gaining weight at the rate that I currently have been for the last 4 weeks is a little bit too quick for my liking. Each of those dot points was 500 grams every week, and I would prefer to be gaining somewhere between 200 and 500 grams each week. 500 grams week after week after week is a little bit like, let's just slow down a little bit. Because at the end of the day, you need to be in a calorie surplus to grow muscle, but there's only like a maximum kind of rate that you can gain muscle at. And the further and further and further you go into a calorie surplus, your muscle synthesis isn't getting any more efficient or any more effective because you're eating that many more calories. So if you're in a really big surplus, then you're probably just going to be putting on more fat. So it's good to try and stay fairly conservative in your surplus. This is for females, it is 200 to 500 gram gains a week are good to make sure that you're putting on muscle without putting on too much excess fat, because I just went through that whole fucking 7-month calorie deficit. And I understand that to put on muscle, to make muscle gains, I also have to make some fat gains. But I'd like to try and keep those to a minimum, because I lost a shitload of fat and now I'd like to put on mostly muscle, not put on mostly fat again, because that is body recomposition and that's what I'm trying to do. So also another reason that I am a little bit conscious of how quickly I've been gaining weight is because I'm now 67 kilos and I am competing in a powerlifting competition in 8 weeks' time. And the upper limit of the weight class that I want to perform in is 67.5 kilos. And I'm 500 grams off that. So there are tricky little things that you can do just before weigh-in to make sure that you're not over that, in terms of manipulating water and manipulating sodium and fiber, things that I don't really know about at this stage. But I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to have to manipulate my weight in some way to make weight for the competition. So yeah, also the fact that I've been consistently gaining and I'm getting really close to my cutoff weight for that comp is a bit like, let's just put the brakes on a little bit. If you do want more details on how my powerlifting, I'm not going to be covering that a lot in this video. Again, description box below, refer to my last video, and I'm going to be doing another update video in a couple of weeks as well, so you might want to subscribe to see if you want to stick around for that and how I'm tracking with my powerlifting comp progress. So I guess what the main thing that I want to touch on is the mentality behind gaining weight and how I'm dealing with gaining weight. And I know that there's a lot of girls out there that either know that they need to put on weight but are too scared to. There's probably a lot of girls out there that don't realize that they need to put on weight but need to. And there's also a lot of girls out there that they want to put on muscle, but they don't understand that that also requires you to put on weight as well. It does happen that you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time, but it is very unlikely, it doesn't occur commonly, and it is not something to aim for. And don't assume that you are a special case and this is something that you're doing, because in the majority of cases, if you want to put on muscle, then you have to put on weight, and you have to accept that along with muscle, there is going to be some fat gains as well. But that's all about kind of body recomposition, I guess. I mean, a lot of my focus at the moment is on this powerlifting competition, but it's also about, I went through this calorie deficit, I lost a lot of fat, and now my aim is to put on mostly muscle. And you have to accept that if you want to be leaner, stronger, whatever, if you want to change the composition of your body, then you have to accept that at some point you're going to need to put on weight. So how am I dealing with that? I think what's really important is to realize that this 3.3 kilos that I've gained and that anyone would gain coming out of a calorie deficit, it's not all fat and it's not all muscle. It's a combination of a lot of things. Firstly, I'm eating more food. Like I said, I'm eating 670 calories more than I was at the end of my deficit. So I've just got more food physically in my body when I go to weigh myself each day. Yes, some of the weight will be a little bit of muscle. Yes, some of the weight will be a little bit of fat. But the biggest variable, and I think something that a lot of people forget when they see the scale jump up, some people are like, oh my God, I've put on fat, or fuck yeah, I've put on a kilo of muscle in a month. Which doesn't happen, by the way. Muscle growth is a really, really fucking slow process. But you see these massive jumps on the scale, and the biggest variable is water. It's in fact water, because when you start eating more food, specifically when you start eating more carbohydrates, you start to store more carbohydrates inside you. There's such a thing called glycogen, which is stored in both your liver and your muscles, and this is what's broken down when you're doing physical activity to provide energy for your muscles. So this storage form of carbohydrates, which is in your muscles, when it's stored with water. So automatically by eating more carbohydrates, you're just going to have more water in you. And so the majority of this 3.3 kilos is water, which is extremely unexciting, and I'm really sorry that it's just water, but that's what it is. And if there's any girls out there that have followed keto or low carb diets for quite some time, and then you've come off that and you've started reintroducing carbohydrates, in particular if you've reintroduced carbs quite quickly, you'll find that your weight might increase quite quickly. That's not fat, it's not muscle, it's just water. It's just your muscles filling up again with carbs, filling up with glycogen, and you're storing more water in your muscles. So I think it's important when you're going through like a weight gaining process, or you want to gain weight, just to understand that the number that is reflected on the scale is not just fat, and it's not just muscle. A really, really big component is going to be water, and I just really want to reiterate that. So that's one way that is helping me kind of get through this process of gaining weight again, is knowing that I'm not just putting on fat, I am putting on muscle, but I am putting on putting on water as well. Just kind of reiterating that to myself and having that knowledge and understanding. Another thing which I think is really important, which I did cover in my powerlifting prep video, which is in the description box, blah, 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 the last video. I think it's really important to make goals which are not related to your body composition, which are not related to how you're physically looking, and are also not related to how much you weigh on the scale. Because I think it's really easy when you're in a calorie deficit to just gun for a certain look, to really gun for a number on the scale, to see your numbers go down and down and down. And that's what makes the calorie deficit, this is kind of in a really sick way, what makes the calorie deficit satisfying is seeing those numbers go down and seeing you look leaner and leaner and leaner. But you can't have that attitude, I find, when you're entering a calorie surplus. You have to find other things to focus on which are unrelated to how much you're weighing and what you're looking like. Because I think if you focus purely on what you're looking like and how much you're weighing, it's going to be a massive mind fuck for you, because you're doing the right thing going through this process to try and gain some muscle, but you are going to gain some fat as well. You are going to retain more water. And especially like a lot of girls like myself in the past have had disordered self-image, disordered body image. It's going to be really hard if you're focusing on purely aesthetics. So make a goal which is not related to your aesthetics. And that is purely why, well, not purely, a lot of the reason why I wanted to do a powerlifting competition, because aesthetics, out the window. No one gives a shit what you look like. It's about how strong you are and how much you're lifting on this one day. And so at the moment, although I do have to stay within a weight class, which is important, my goal is to get as strong as possible, is to improve on those 1 rep maxes that I did in that previous video. It's all about strength goals. And of course, not everyone weightlifts, not everyone goes to the gym. I certainly wouldn't be weightlifting if I was still playing team sport, if I was still able to play team sport. So then I would probably be focusing on improving my skills, becoming a better player. I played soccer and football, so I'd be focusing on my skills, on my skill development, on my assists, on kicking more goals, that kind of thing. On being a more effective and efficient and a better team player, getting fitter, getting stronger, having more interaction in the play. So there's that if you're a team sport kind of person. If you're in an individual sport, or if you're a runner, I'd be wanting to also focus on running faster, doing PBs. Try and take the focus away from what you're looking like, how much you're weighing, and focus on something external, some sort of goal to work towards, because you've now got all this energy in your system. You've got all of this excess energy which is just waiting for you to do something with it. So use it. Go out there, become a stronger, faster, more skillful individual at a particular thing, but make a goal which is unrelated to all this, because if you focus on just the weight on the scale and just on aesthetics, then it's going to be a pretty miserable calorie surplus for you. So that was a fairly kind of brief video. There wasn't lots of like data and stats and like facts and like notes. That was just me just blah off the top of my head at you guys. I hope that it was useful in some way. I haven't had a DEXA scan recently, which is why there hasn't been more stats or anything like that. I'm gonna get a DEXA scan, I think at the start of August or the end of July, something like that, and then we can actually compare, this bitch has been talking the talk about gaining muscle, has she actually gained muscle? So that'll hold me accountable. Hopefully I'm doing all the right things, we shall see. Also going to do another update in terms of how my powerlifting prep is going and all that kind of thing. I hope this was useful in some way. I feel like I wasn't super thorough, so if you have any further questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you want to hear more about or see more of everything that's coming up, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up and all that. And thank you to you guys for listening to my crazy ramblings, as always. I hope you're all having a good day and have a good week. Chat to you all later.